Good day, ma'am, and good day, classmates. We are group number 3, and we will discuss the language policy of the Commission on Higher Education, also known as Higher Education Act of 1994. Now, here are my group mates. Now, to proceed and give a background on our topic, Republic Act number 7722. It is also known as the Higher Education Act of 1994. It was signed into law on May 18, 1994. Abolished the Bureau of Higher Education. It became the Commission on Higher Education. So before we have the Bureau of Higher Education, and then after the Republic Act number 7722, we now have the Commission on Higher Education, or CHED. It confined the jurisdiction of the Department of Education. So what do we mean by that? So DepEd now only has jurisdiction under elementary and secondary levels of education. That means that CHED would be responsible for the tertiary level. To elaborate or to give more details about RA 7722, we have here their policy. Essentially, when we read this policy, uh, it means that in pursuant to Republic Act 7722, the CHED is mandated to promote quality education, broaden access to higher education, protect academic freedom for continuing intellectual growth, and ensure advancement of learning and research. Now we have here, according to our source from the official gazette.gov.ph, RA 7722 is primarily defined as an act creating the Commission on Higher Education and an act appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. Now, it created the CHED we know today, and it is under, or you can see that under sections 3 until sections 9. And it is an act appropriating funds, and that could be seen under section 10 until section 20. Details about this uh, definition will be discussed by my other group mates.
Good day. Higher Education Act of 1994 proposes that CHED shall be independent and separate from DEX and attached to the Office of the President for administrative purposes only. Commission on Higher Education, formerly known as the Bureau of Higher Education under Department of Education, Culture and Sports, shall be separated from the said department and attached directly to the Office of the President of the Philippines. Also proposes that the CHED shall be composed of a chairman and 4 commissioners who will be given a term of 4 years. It has an executive office which oversees the overall implementation of policies, programs, projects, and operations of various offices of CHED. The chairman and 4 commissioners will be appointed by the current president of the Philippines, since CHED is directly under the office of the president. Before one can be a CHED chairperson or commissioner, one must have all the following qualifications. One must be a holder of an earned doctorate or doctorates. One must actively be engaged in higher education for at least 10 years. One must not have been a candidate for any local or national elective position during the recent election. One must be academicians known for their high degree of professionalism and integrity. The appointed chairperson and commissioners shall serve as collegial body in formulating plans, policies, and strategies relating to higher education and in deciding important matters and problems regarding the operation of CHED. The executive office shall oversee that these policies, plans, and strategies are being implemented by the higher education institutions in the country. Next. It also proposes that the coverage of CHED shall be both public and private institutions of higher education, as well as degree granting programs in all post-secondary educational institutions, public and private. So, all policies, plans, and strategies that are made by the CHED shall be implemented by the higher education institutions and degree granting programs in all post-secondary education institutions, may it be public or private. CHED was tasked to update the general education curriculum of the tertiary courses, leading to an initial bachelor's degree covering 4 curriculum years. The general education curriculum is the portion of the curriculum common to all undergraduate students regardless of their major. It exposes them to various domains of knowledge and ways of comprehending social and natural realities, developing in the process intellectual competencies such as critical, analytical, and creative thinking, and multiple forms of expression, and civic capacities demanded of membership in the community, country, and the world. Examples of these courses are ethics, the life and works of Rizal, understanding the self, and the likes. In the latest revision of the GEC, it is composed of a minimum of 36 units. It is composed of a minimum of 36 units. And that is all. Next.
Next is Republic Act number 7722, an act appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. So it says here in section 10, the Higher Education Development Fund is hereby established exclusively for the strengthening of higher education in the entire country. So the Higher Education Development Funds comes from the contribution of the different governments, such as seed capital, which is 500 million pesos, and another 50 million for the initial operation of the commission, a 40% annual share on the total gross collection of travel tax, and another 30% from the professional registration, and lastly, a 1% of the gross sale from PCSO. So the summary of this could also be seen in section 17, wherein the collected funds includes higher tertiary education and vocational and technical programs of the Bureau of Technical Education in the regional offices. Next. So, in CHED Memorandum Order Number 59 Series of 1996 Language Policy, in consonance with the Bilingual Education Policy Underlying Index on Order Number 52 Series of 1987, the following are the guidelines vis-a-vis medium of instruction to with first, language courses, whether Filipino or English, should be taught in that language. So in here, if a teacher is teaching in English subject, the teacher must use an English language. Same with the Filipino. If the teacher is teaching in Filipino subject, then the teacher must use a Filipino language. Next, at the discretion of the higher education instruction, literature subjects may be taught in Filipino, English, or any other language as long as there are enough instructional materials for the same and both students and instructors or professors are competent in the language. So in here, literature subjects can be taught in Filipino, English, or any other languages. So this way, the students will be able to understand more the piece of literature. And lastly, courses in the humanities and social sciences should preferably be taught in Filipino. So the students in these subjects will be able to understand more about humanities and social sciences. So for our references,